Good evening, this is Florence Grace Maloney Nee Prendergast. My Facebook, Flo Maloney-Prendergast, and today is Tuesday, the 14th of December 2021. Right, so yesterday evening I listened to this video. I shall get it up for you. And it dealt with an area entitled Family Life and Mental Health.
Good morning, everyone.
And I say they're Jamaicans because they have a combined accent of Jamaican and American.
More than that, we have a closer relationship with our Lord, and we can meet family and friends.
Now, let me just say,
most of you, and the lovely lady that
I was actually at this event physically, but emotionally I was stuck in the breakup of my marriage relationship. And so I listened to this again yesterday and I heard this.
Grow to love Jesus better, and that we'll be able to
Better.
take care of our families and address some of the critical issues that inhibit our spiritual growth. Thank you for having us. By the way, today is our anniversary.
So it's their anniversary, but we want to get to what they deal with.
little girl, as you, the topic that is there, mental health and the family. Honey, talk to us. We're living in an age when individuals are even afraid to use the word mental health.
Unfortunately, when we hear the word mental, we think crazy. And because of that stigmatization, many people who have mental issues or mental health problems are afraid to identify. And so there are so many problems in our families as a result of this. And most times the individuals don't necessarily get the help that is available, and so they suffer in silence. In any given church, you'd be surprised to know how many wounded members we have, but nobody talks about it, and sometimes the families themselves are afraid to come forward. So the day has come when we really have been trying to create awareness that it is okay to say we have a problem mentally. Now let me tell you, when you have a physical problem, we seek help, don't we? Even though we're Christians and we pray and we know that God's power is available to do all things. We have a cardiac problem, we find a cardiologist. We have a kidney problem, we find a nephrologist. When we have a mental health problem, we need to acknowledge it and go get help as well. So we're here today to bring awareness, to help to affirm people who have mental illnesses to understand that Jesus loves you and you're somebody special and that there's help for you.
Okay, and they then went on to share statistics, and it was specific to the UK. So it got me thinking, and all these different areas in my own life and what I went through. So I'm going to take you through a series of different things. Now let's look at some videos. Let's look at the case of A Second Chance. Let's call that up. If I can find it. It was here earlier. Right. Allowing your children to learn. So we're still on the topic of mental health and the family. Now here's a clip from a movie. I'm gonna see if I can get it up. Open file, and we're going to go to good mental health. So the child that's in the background has to make a speech, but he can't do it very well. And after she's pretended to be who she's not, purely by accident and circumstances, she's given a second chance. Now let's look at balance and reality. I'm just going to throw out different topic areas. Because why should we even look at these areas? She's saying she needs fun in her life. Okay. So let's look at another issue, being free. Right, in this movie clip, he's escaped and he comes back to this place. And not only has he brought something for himself, he's brought something for the entire village. And we see all these children. Okay. Right, so being rescued principle. She's falsified who she is. And the lady recognizes her. The butler, he's worked out she's the woman the guy really wants to see. And he steps in for her. So we want to look at building true connections now. Here you see a scene in Hitch where he's saying, since when have we ever got anything right? But before that, he makes so much errors because he's the top consultant who people refer to get the dates they just cannot get. And let's look at an area of relationships, communication. In this movie, after this guy's beaten the other two up, they meet this guy. Excuse the language. Sorry, I lose it a bit when I hear that. Right, so, and let's look at dating realities. The guy, she's, in this movie clip, she's arranging to see the Hitch again because she wants to know, how does he know her two friends? Now let's look at something about our human nature, the expression of strong emotions. So the daughter, she got smacked for bringing limes, and the sister, what she wants to do. Okay, so you hear that. If you hit a child, the only lesson she's going to learn is to hit as well. Healthy relationships will pass the test. Let's see what we have here. They went through so much, these two, and they end up still being friends after he said he wasn't his brother. We're just dealing with the principle there because they're just friends. Let's look in the area of separating the person from the profession. What about how do we deal with challenges? Yeah. You know, we're trying to create bridges with people, and the bridge we're walking on can collapse. That's just a metaphor, that one. What about how you pick your friends? This is when Carter and his friend, he's trying to persuade Chang to keep him on the case. And Chang just constantly sees him as a liability. All right, let's look at a life application. Okay, now let's look at life challenges that aren't always visible. There are things in this world we can't see coming at us, but they can come. What about knowing what you will say yes and no to? What I'm doing, I'm just throwing out different issues, and then I'm going to conclude. But I'm using these clips as illustrations. Okay, what about mistakes in human nature? Okay, so here in Maid in Manhattan, Marisha, she dressed up in one of the guest outfits, and he came in and he thought she was a socialite, and there was a strong attraction. They began to know each other. Her true job as a maid came out, and the son is now speaking on her behalf. Okay, so let's look at, that's another issue. Let's look at money attractions and limitations. Now the woman, she wants to meet the guy because she thinks he's someone with money, but he happens to be just a child. So he may like older men, the young boy says. So let's look at something. Others may see what we don't, a principle. Okay, so this is a physical issue. So he's eating something which he likes, but his body doesn't like. So he starts scratching away. So the lady says she thinks she knows what's wrong. Okay? Right, so she sees, you know, people see things that we don't know. And then there's the other side. There might be positive attributes we have, and you know, we're thinking, oh, we're not that good. So she got put forward for a job by her friends. Now, I want to conclude, or we're going to keep going on with the illustrations. Let's look at tigers in captivity. Now,
tigers of the snow. And some researchers are just about to tag a baby tiger cub.
it's what they say. Let's see if we can get that. Never learned to purr, but he'd learn how to. That's his own little roar at such a young age. So vulnerable. It can't speak for itself. But I want to show you something about the tigers in captivity. They're just releasing these two. And look what happens here. There are situations when we're being released, and what we do, we try to close the gate because we're so used to being in a situation. So let's kind of bring this in conclusion. Let's look at who you are and what you do. So she's saying she's a maid. Right, so there you see how she confesses that she's a maid. So we've presented all these different issues. Now let's bring this to a conclusion. How do we define ourselves, the mistakes we've made, when someone does something? I think did we deal with the one on forgiveness? Tests within friendships, stages to hurt and consequences. Let's. So she wants the young man to invite her to the theatre. Let's bring it. Let's get to that point. So she's saying, can she not go to the theatre with them, and that a ticket wasn't actually purchased for her. Right, so this is, we're dealing with stages to a hurt and consequences. So she says she's going to be sorry for this. Now let's see what happens. We're dealing with real life issues of what faces us human beings. And we're going to bring it to dealing with stages to a hurt. No one can define what hurts another person. What may hurt you may not hurt another person. What will hurt another person may not hurt you. So there's a principle here. She's in bed doing her thing, reading. Now the older sister is looking for an item. This isn't about knowing the storyline, it's about getting the principle, illustration, and learning. So she's burnt something precious to her. Right, and she's so upset about what happened. But I'm going to take you to the steps to one choice. She had just tried on the outfit, and he happens to be at the door. She's in the moment, introduces herself, doesn't intend to falsify herself. And her friend who wanted her to fix up in the dress was saying, weren't you saying, now there's a principle, let's just conclude it with both of them. Steps to a hurt, and by the way, in the first one, the sister does forgive her. And in this one, she didn't see the progression, the results of her choice. She was free to make the choice, but not free to choose the consequences of her choice. So we're going to conclude with an answer. When you look at life and what they're dealing with.
Okay, folks, for years we've been looking for at various things like talking therapies and pills to deal with an issue around what they call mental health, or I would add poor mental health. I like to conclude with Jesus, the source, and I present to you 4 areas as the source. that will accomplish this. You have the Holy Bible, followed by four books by Ellen G. White. So they are the Bible version. I'm going to direct you to the New International Reader's Version, online, YouTube, Steps to Christ. These are the resources by Ellen G. White. Online, audio book. That's a small book. Then you have the Desire of Ages, which deals with the ministry of Christ. Online, then you have the audio book. You can download that as in MP3 or have it as a video. Patriarchs and Prophets online, that deals with our beginnings and the great controversy, which deals with the fall of Jerusalem to the end of the world and our time in the new earth. Okay. So let's take you to each of these resources to lead us to the source. This is Florence Grace.
Okay, so I want to conclude here. I want to thank you for looking. If you look at all those issues that were presented, you know, it's just to illustrate aspects of human nature. And without divine intervention, all our interventions will only take us south. We want answers that will take us north, higher than ourselves. The answer comes in Jesus. I make no apology. This has been my experience, that he really is the answer. And those 5 resources, the Bible, Steps of Christ, Desire of Ages, Patriarch and Prophets, the Great Controversy, I direct them to you. And may you know what it is to really rise and to recognize that you are not a blob on a log, but you are here by design. The Psalm chapter 139 says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. The entire chapter, verses 14 and 15. Thank you for looking. This is Florence Grace Maloney Prendergast, Facebook Flo Maloney-Prendergast. And it's now, at first it was Tuesday, it's now gone into Wednesday the 15th of December 2021. Thank you for looking.